Good morning, everyone. Britt Simon here. So I thought I'd jump online, take any questions that you have. Obviously, there'll be some questions about the proposed travel ban. Now, I just posted a video an hour ago or so that explains my thoughts about that. So I'd rather keep those questions, unless it's particularly a question that I didn't answer in that video. Keep the questions about the travel ban, potential travel ban, and just make sure you go and watch that other video. Okay. But if you've got other questions on DV lottery questions, I'd be more than happy to take them now. So Joe, good morning. How you doing? How you doing in the USA? Fingers crossed. I'm sure you're doing well. Okay, so say about the DV Lottery 2026. The results will be out in early May. I think it's May the 4th. It's going ahead as normal. There's nothing that's been proposed to stop that lottery, although obviously people could be banned once they start processing. But processing for DV 2026 won't start until the 1st of October this year. So the results will be out in May the 4th, I think it is. Then 1st of October this year until 30th of September the following year in 2026. That'll be the processing period. Okay. Travel ban list means DV 2025's societies will not be processed further. No, that's not true. So you haven't watched the video then. I posted a video an hour ago that explains carefully that people, when there's a travel ban by the president of the USA, he's allowed to ban entry, but not visa issuance, right? So people can still get their visas issued. They can still be processed, but they can't enter with those visas. And there's got to be some sort of, some action like removing the ban in order to get those people to enter. So it'll be up to people to decide whether they want to go through the process or not, okay? I've made all that very clear in a video that I posted an hour ago. Please go watch that. Hey, J.E. Good afternoon, says Joe. Yeah, indeed. What about Addis? Is it doing well? Addis is doing well, but has not yet, as far as I know, taken any interviews for the month of May yet, whereas other countries have. Now, does that indicate that they won't take for the month of May? I don't know. It's too early to make that sort of guess. It's a bit weird that they haven't taken any interviews yet, but it's too early to say what that means. Okay, so relax. Hi Simon, is it cold today in Cali, or are you under the weather? Hope your weekend is well. I'm under the weather, thank you. I've just been out and I feel a bit cold. Yes, it's cold in California. Don't like the cold weather at all. But yes, I'm feeling a bit coldy, so hence the top here. Hello, sir. Plead. What's the next step after your medicals? Generally speaking, when you receive the 2NL, which is the notice of the interview date, then it's up to you to arrange the medical before the interview date, and the next step after the medical then is the interview, right? Pretty simple. Now, obviously, you've got that time also to prepare all your documents, make sure you're ready for the interview. That's about it. Okay. Hi, Britt, Nairobi, Kenya Embassy, expecting to send 2NLs. Do you think it's possible from 11 to 35 current cases at once? No, it's not possible. And so it won't be like that. So DV channels, let me just see. Let's go to, let me show you what I'm doing. I'll show you why it's not possible. You should know this, really. This is something that I've shown before. Present, share screen, entire screen. Here we go. Right. So you can come to Zarthesius's fantastic site, right, at dvcharts.zarthesius.xyz. You can go to the 2025 data and scroll down and look at NRB, right? And what I particularly want to find here is the amount of cases that Nairobi is taking on a monthly basis, right? Sorry, not on a monthly basis, is taking per 1,000. So these numbers down the bottom, they're grouped into 1 to 2,000, 2,000 to 4,000. So they're grouped into 2,000 blocks. And on average, you can say it looks like Nairobi is taking around about 70 to 80 cases per 1,000. Let's call that, let's call it 35 cases per, they're taking 70 to 80 cases per 2,000. So we'll call that 35 cases per 2,000. Oh my God. You can tell I'm not well, right? They are taking 35 cases per 1,000. Did I get that right? Yes, I think I finally did. I'm obviously groggy. So if they were to go, your question is it possible to get from 11,000 to 25,000, right? So, or 35,000. So let's bring a calculator up and put that over here. Okay, so we know that they're taking about 35 cases per 1,000, and you're asking around about a range of 24,000 jump, right? You would want them to take cases from 11,000 to 35,000 in one go, in 1 month. That would mean they'd have to take 840 cases in a single month. I don't think they can do that. It's, you know, it's not realistic that they would do that. Maybe 400 in a single month, maybe. Let's have a look. Let's see what they have taken. They have taken enormous amounts in the past, but let's have a look at previous years. So do the same thing here. And we can see the number of cases they've taken. So if you combine the July 24th, and these are the number of cases they've taken over this side. So if you combine the July 24th with August 6th, because all of these interviews were arranged for September, that would have been one of their busiest months, and that was about, what, 435 cases. So that's about the most they can take in a single month. You can see they've taken 339 cases last year, 372 cases in 1 month. So they could do 400, but not 840. I don't think they can do that. Okay, that's why I'm saying say no to that. Okay. Right. Hi, Simon. Is there a case, in case there is a travel ban, will the high case number get a chance for countries that are not in the ban list? Yes, that's basically the effect of the ban, right? You know, if there is that sort of thing. So let's have a look at the visa bulletin for a second. There's a visa bulletin from there, right? We'll bring up this visa bulletin, and you know, we want to look at the visa bulletin from last September to get the list of countries that were that got selectees, the number of selectees per country in various regions. Right now, if we look at the newspaper article, where is that? For that, yeah. If we look at this newspaper article, which is a reporting of the travel ban that is likely to be put in place, it may not be exactly right, but let's say it's close, right? We can see, for example, Sudan and Somalia in Africa, you know, are there. We've got some other ones as well, Cuba, Bhutan, Afghanistan. Okay, so if we just put that to one side for a second, we look in Africa. Let's just slide over that way. We'll just move that over. Okay, so we look at Sudan, 5,500 people. So the remaining Sudanese cases would find themselves banned. It's a relatively poor country, so they probably wouldn't spend the money on having an interview where they could get the visa, but they would probably not be able to enter the USA, right? Some of them won't. I mean, not all of them, but some of them will decide not to do that. So there'll be a significant number of those Sudanese applicants impacted by the ban, probably, and they will decide not to go ahead. Same thing with these 966 from Somalia and potentially other countries. But if you suddenly had, let's say, 2,000 or 3,000 Sudanese applicants banned, then that would be beneficial to other people in the African region, right? And if Africa has people banned, you know, in large numbers, it could affect other regions too, because if Africa doesn't fill its quota, then that could increase the numbers for non-banned countries in other regions, particularly Asia and Europe. But Asia is also going to see people banned, so Iran in particular. So Asia would probably go higher numbers, Africa would probably go to higher numbers, and Europe would probably go to higher numbers than my current predictions. That's basically what would happen in the case of the travel ban. Okay, so is it right that Afghanistan is banned? No, it's right that Afghanistan is on the list of countries that they may be banned, but there's no ban in place right now. Okay, so it's not banned yet, but if the ban is implemented, then it's likely that Afghanistan will be included. We've been warning about this for some months now. This shouldn't be a surprise. Interviewed on the 5th of March, says Samson, but wasn't approved because the CO requested for WSC PIN to verify my WSCE cert. Yep, always do. Sent it to them. Case status still ready. Okay. I don't know why you didn't take your PIN to the interview. That was, that should have been clear. Should have been very obvious to you, but oh well. Lucky Boy says, "Hey, good to see you. Could you think can CO issue if you had listed ban countries listed as rumors?" A bit of a confused sentence there, but let me just say again: the ban, if implemented, is on entry to the USA, not on visa issuance. So people can be issued with visas and then hope that they can find some way of entering the country. Now, until we actually see the wording of the travel ban, we won't know whether there's ways around the travel ban, right? So, for example, if you're a dual citizen of another country, maybe that will be another way that you could enter the USA. In which case, it would be worth you going to take your interview, getting your immigrant visa, and then trying to fight to see if you can get into the country. So, there will be some exceptions and exemptions. We have to wait and see how the ban is written. Okay. From Uganda, waiting for May DV lottery. Good. Travel ban list means means if I'm on the ban list, DV lottery will not be processing further. I've already explained that. Mr. Britt Siren, Trump administration will continue travel ban. What do you have any information? I've posted a video an hour and a half ago which explains all the information I have. This is not a 100% certain ban yet. This is a proposed ban. This is information about the proposed ban, and I've talked about that in a specific video an hour and 30 minutes ago. Okay. Do you think EU might see a bigger jump in the next bulletin to make up for the lack of movement in the previous one? Sort of, yes. We don't know the reasons why they didn't jump in this visa bulletin, but I'd speculated a few days ago that one possible reason could be DS-260 backlog processing. But the evidence of that would have been relatively normal numbers of interviews being arranged in EU, which so far at least we've not seen that. There's not very many new interviews being arranged in Europe. Okay, so it's still a mystery why they didn't increase the EU number. I think they will increase it next month. What can I say? I don't have any other information, solid information. This is all just speculation, right? Okay. Oh, how do you think travel ban affect to Myanmar DV winner? Well, if they're on the list, then it's going to be a problem. But again, I've explained that in the video that you can go watch after this live session, right? Yeah, I've already spoken about Addis. Please, I wish you to answer me. Could they reach next month with a new travel ban? Could Africa reach 50K next month? Look, this is like a big ship at sea. It doesn't turn very rapidly, right? Just because the ban is implemented, it doesn't mean that we'll suddenly see enormous jumps in Africa or any other region. immediately later, right? Within a few days of the travel ban. That's not what will happen, right? And I've already explained that I've predicted where Africa could get to by the end without impact from the ban, I have to say. But I've predicted where it would get to the end. And then I've said it will probably go in sort of 5,000-ish jumps month to month. But it's possible for it to jump, let's say, 8,000 one month, 4,000 the next month. It could be 5,000 each month. Who knows? So it doesn't have to be the same each month. It can be a bit more one month and a bit less, the next month. But would they jump from 35 to 50,000 in one month? It doesn't seem likely. Certainly not a few days after a possible ban has been implemented. Feel free to dream, but it's not that likely, is it? What can you say about that guy in your Telegram who predicted about Nairobi embassy resuming interviews in May? People predict things all the time. Sometimes it's bullshit. Sometimes it's true. I think it's funny you guys you obsess over some random dude coming in who's got no credibility whatsoever, and he says something, and then you're all like, "Oh, I should believe that." I think it's funny that you're all so easily sort of desperate to believe any last word. It may have been true. It may not be true. It could be one of the typical bullshitters. Don't forget, we've got lots of people who run around saying that fairies are real. And don't worry, God will take care of you. I mean, it's all bullshit. You understand that, right? These things are just made up nonsense. Now, in this particular case, has this individual who said something in the Telegram channel, has he got true information? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, right? It doesn't, there was no other evidence that made that particular comment more credible than other comments, right? For me, I wait for, let's talk about this travel ban, for example. I waited until there was more than just one news outlet reporting it and confirmed that multiple news outlets were saying basically the same thing, that the information was obviously coming from a credible source. And if you read the New York Times article, it talks about sourcing and anonymous sources, etc. So I feel it's credible. But I waited to get proof from other options before sort of going ahead and talking about it. That's what you have to do, right? Harrison from Nairobi, 38K, still waiting. Okay, Harrison, I'll make a note. Mustafa says, if I have a green card but try to travel back to my country, which is include bank countries, so do I. Okay, I don't know. Your question is badly worded. Oh, is it safe? So again, we have to wait for the terms of the ban to be written. We have to wait to see what the actual announcement says. It is sort of possible that the ban could include language that would exclude people who are green card holders, lawful permanent residents. However, if they do that, they are almost certainly going to be sued because that's not okay. I'm pretty sure that there would be a lot of lawsuits immediately filed from people who say, well, hang on a minute, I've got a green card here. You can't block me from my place that you've told me is my lawful permanent residence. And I think that would be removed pretty quickly. But that's, again, speculation. I'm speculating that they would include that language in the ban, which I don't think they will. And I'm speculating that if they did include that language in the ban, there would be lawsuits attacking it and it would be taken down. If they took that language out, by the way, it wouldn't destroy the whole ban. It would just destroy that part of it. So my best guess, and that's all it is that green card holders are relatively safe in general. Although under this administration, you have to be very careful with them just coming up with bullshit to try and revoke your green card. A green card is a probationary status. It can be taken away under certain circumstances. And we normally only talk about people losing their green cards for fraud or crimes or those sort of things. But there is a case going on at the moment, a young man called Mohammed Khalil, who will probably lose his green card status and will probably be deported because he happens to support Palestine against Israel and has spoken about it in his university, which, to be honest, is a perfectly legitimate First Amendment thing for him to say. There's nothing wrong with what he said. He didn't do anything. But the Secretary of State can take a view, according to the law, that this young man's words and actions it caused harm to America. And on that basis, they're going to try and throw him out of the country. And they'll probably win. The government will probably win, in my opinion, because it's a very loose wording, So, yeah, it's going to be a difficult time, even though in typical comedic fashion, they've already screwed up some of the paperwork, the government. I think they'll probably win this particular case. So there you go. Al-Hamta. Afghanistan is on the red list for travel ban. Most people are doing their best that this ban won't affect SIVs or US RAP program. It won't affect US RAP. Is it possible it won't affect DV? Look, if they're on the red list, they're banned. Like, people dreaming about it not affecting SIVs, and that's dreaming. If it's on the red list, and that red list is a ban, it doesn't matter what sort of visa we're talking about. They're not going to be given, a chance to enter. So yes, DV lottery cases will be affected. So don't dream. I'm waiting for my 2NL, and surprisingly, my country is on the list in the travel ban. Means I won't be processed further in the case. In fact, you've already asked, and I've already answered. How is the prediction of the next VB? I don't have one. How can the country in the orange color remove from the travel ban restriction like Sierra Leone? Explain, please. The orange countries are almost as badly banned as the red countries if the ban comes in, right? The red countries have a complete ban on every type of visa, non-immigrant and immigrant. The orange list is a complete ban for immigrant and most non-immigrant cases, according to the reporting, right? Now, again, we're talking about a ban that has not been implemented yet, so we're just guessing here. But the point of the orange list is to allow certain visa types to still be allowed to enter. How can they remove themselves from that list? They can't really. I mean, they can improve something. There could be diplomatic relations and diplomatic conversations going on. But the orange list is not like the yellow list. The yellow list is a waiting period whereby those countries on the list won't be affected during that 60 days. But they have 60 days in order to fix and address certain problems. And then if they don't address those problems, those could move on to the orange or red lists, right? That's how that's being set up. Now, again, we're talking about a ban that's not implemented yet. So be very careful to not assume that these bans are in place, okay? Is it still 33.4 safe from Morocco despite interviews stopped at 20K? I can't tell you that with certainty, right? We have to wait and see. We don't know why CSB Casablanca stopped the interviews for a while or spread them out. They actually did take another, I think, 11 of 12 cases for May. But, we have to wait and see. I can't tell you that you're safe, right? What are your thoughts about Ankara? I spit on Ankara in terms of the US embassy there. I think they're doing a horrible job. Somebody mentioned something about this the other day. They're just failing in a very cruel, horrible way. It is clear, and it has been clear for years, that they are underworking. There is a backlog being built of immediate relative cases and other cases, as well as DV lottery, and they don't seem to give a damn. And what they should have been doing is increasing their staffing there, but they haven't done that. I don't know why, but that's basically it. So it's a shameful performance, is what I think. Shameful. frankly, U.S. Embassy in Ankara. I think they deserve, they deserve all our negative comments towards them, shall we say? So yeah, don't like Ankara at all. I'm sorry to say it. It's horrible. It's horrible what they're doing there. Okay, let's see. 12.9 can be safe for Asia region. Yeah, pretty safe. Do you need any online registration to confirm your interview, or you just go to the embassy on the interview date sent to you? It depends. It varies by embassy. When they send you the interview, they also give you some instructions, and there are online instructions as well. In some cases, for some embassies, you have to register your appointment. And it's not that you actually are registering your appointment, I should make clear. You're creating a case or an online account with a courier service. Essentially, they're a courier service. And that courier service is there to deliver the passport back to you, but also to communicate to you, if necessary, prior to the interview, right? And so you're required to set up that online account. You don't have to ask them for another interview appointment. You already have one. Okay. This isn't going to be a long session, by the way. I'm getting really bunged up here. Would submitting a DS-260 affect my chances of getting a non-immigrant visa should I want to travel to the US before my interview? Yes. Submitting a DS-260 is an application for an immigrant visa. So there is no other more obvious declaration of declaring immigrant intent than submitting a DS-260. Now, that doesn't mean that you cannot get a non-immigrant visa approved during the time when your DS-260 is processing. But it is one more factor that will be taken into account to decide whether they trust you to return home or not. That's basically it. And so, yes, it can help. It can hinder your chances of getting a non-immigrant visa somewhat. It can't be the only factor. It has to be one of multiple factors. Okay. Fatumo. I was DV Lottery 2024 with 39K, and I became current at Addis after struggle. I have got transferred. I'm currently in Minnesota. Awesome. Thanks so much for your support. Sending much love. That's a happy story. I'm glad when people take action and save their own chances. So congratulations. Salah. My wife has been selected with case number AS 10600. She is Iraqi and holds dual nationality, Iranian and British. She currently lives in London. Will the travel ban affect me? If so, how? I don't know yet. You'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see whether they cover dual nationals or not. We'll have to wait and see what the terms will be. Okay. Once we see the actual ban, then we can start talking about that sort of question. Can DV selectees use the AVITS portal? Normally, yes. What is going and what kind of ban is coming? I did a video this morning. I posted an hour and a half ago, a breakdown of what we know so far. Please have a look at that. Will travel ban impact Morocco or only for Africa region? Again, please watch the video. If country, any statistics about the number of people who apply for DV25? We don't have that numbers yet. I suspect it was around about 18, 19 million. Actually, I think the DV25 selectee letters made that clear, didn't it? I think it did. It usually says something like 131,000 people were selected from 18 million entries, something like that. So yes, we know that. But no country statistics yet. They are several years behind in reporting those stats. Okay. What happens to countries that are not affected but are supposed to do our interviews in affected countries? No problem. It's not, the travel ban does not stop the embassies issuing visas and doing all their normal work. It's just a ban on entry. Okay. Hi, thanks for all you do. If this ban is implemented, any country in the yellow list, does this mean 2026 lottery DV lottery applicants will be disqualified from May 3rd draw? Absolutely not. No, it doesn't affect anybody being selected. it doesn't affect them being processing. It only affects entry, right? That's the only effect of a travel ban, is entry into the USA. The only power that the POTUS, the president, has is to stop entry from a certain class of people, based on whatever class he wants to describe. Does not mean that you can't be a DV lottery winner. Does not mean you cannot process that case. It just means you can't enter while that ban is in place. Okay. Abidjan Embassy just released cases for May interview, and my case number was part of the cases, but didn't receive the 2NL. My case status didn't change to ready. Any worries, please? No, you just need to be more patient. Your number, your case probably shows in transit, and then they'll mark it ready. The fact that you don't have your details is probably just you've probably just missed the email, frankly. That's probably what's happened. DS260 isn't processed yet. I submitted in the first week of December. Could this be due to the extensive screening imposed by the Trump admin? No, it's because you submitted in December. For Christ's sake. The lottery applicants were chosen in May. People were submitting in May, June, July, August, September, October, November. You got off your ass in December, and now you're worried why it's taking a little bit of time. Really? The reason you're delayed is because you delayed submitting your case. That's all. It's not because of some made-up shit that hasn't even happened yet. What happens if you win but your country is banned? I've already explained. Thanks for all you do. If this ban is implemented, wow, we're talking about the ban a lot. Any country on the yellow list, yeah, but yeah, I think I've already answered that one. Did you ever find anyone from the UK that won last year? So, Harry, so I've had people on my lives that claim to be chargeable to the UK and claim to be winners, right? One I can think of immediately was a user called Queenie. Her screen name was Queenie, right? Now, I don't know whether that was a misunderstanding or whether other people have been cited or not. What I can say is that in the first 4 months of the year, not a single person chargeable to the UK has been issued with a visa from official statistics. And that tells me that there are probably either very, very few cases or no cases of selectees. Now, I've submitted a Freedom of Information request to try and get that information. I asked for that to be expedited. They've declined the expedite, and now I just have to wait, some time to get the answer. And it could be, it could be too late. I'd sort of played this out of my mind because if, let's say, they made a mistake and they didn't turn on the switch that says, yeah, pick people from the UK, then really what should have happened, if we'd have known that, let's say back in May, they should have redrawn the whole thing, right? And that's happened once before, where they realized that they made a mistake with a draw in DV 2012. They threw away all the results and drew again. And in one respect, that's what they should do now, if we could prove that they hadn't included the UK. Because it means that the draw, at least for Europe, would be invalid, right? But are they going to do that? No, they wouldn't do that, right? So let's say we brought some sort of lawsuit and we had some people who had entered but not had an honest chance of succeeding. And my own daughter was one of those people that were in the list of people that entered, right? So I know people entered because my own daughter had entered, right? And so I could bring a lawsuit, let's say, on my daughter's behalf, saying I don't think she had a fair chance in that entry, and they would have to come up with some sort of remedy if I won that case, right? But what remedy? They throw away all the results, and all the people that have been selected so far just, they tear that up? No, of course not. That's not going to happen. Would they say, okay, everybody from the UK that complains, they give them a lottery win? That's not okay. If they did, would they give them highest case numbers in Europe? That wouldn't be okay, right? There is no logical remedy here. There's no logical surprise. Somebody asked me if they were excluded from DV25, and we can prove that, let's say we prove that in a lawsuit or something, would they add that and make them eligible in another year, when the UK is not supposed to be eligible? Well, that's breaking the law to include them in a year when they shouldn't be included. So that's not a sensible remedy either. There is no sensible remedy. That's the problem that I have with it. So I spoke to a couple of lawyers about it, but the problem is there is no remedy. So what do you do? So I'll be watching carefully, but I just don't think we're going to be able to do anything about it, even if we prove that they screwed up. I'm starting to think that they screwed up, but I don't know for sure. I'd love to hear from any UK winners, any winners that are chargeable to the UK. I'd like to see some proof that says, Great Britain, chargeable to Great Britain. I'd love to see that proof, okay, because I would stop thinking about it if that were true. Sandy, we've already talked about that. If someone marry after being current and inform the embassy, what are the things to consider here? Risks, how much delay can it cause? Well, it can cause some delay, but also it can cause some suspicion, because why did you not get married before? You've got to be some sort of freaking idiot if you haven't married up to now and you suddenly marry after you get the 2NL. Like, what were you thinking? It just creates suspicion. It creates suspicion that you're at least dopey, and possibly it's some sort of fraudulent situation. It doesn't, if you're with a girlfriend or a boyfriend or whatever, and you want to be together, and all of a sudden one of you wins the lottery, the most logical thing is you would have got married last year. May, June, July. You would have got married straight away and gone through the process together. Why would you wait a year before doing that? It doesn't make sense. So, so there you go. What's the effect of the re-entry permit on citizenship 5-year rule? Well, if you're out of the country for more than 6 months, that affects the citizenship timing. But I don't talk a lot about the formula for citizenship because it's got some nuances. So it's outside the scope of what I talk about, really. Nepal had 500 increase in the VB, and there was a backlog of 300 plus from earlier VB. Yep. 2NL came only about 400, meaning yet again backlog of 350. Does this slow down mean Nepal not in preference? What preference? There is no preference thing. It's not like Nepal is preference. That's not how it works. So there are many countries that have slowdowns or backlogs, etc. Nobody is singling out Nepal for that sort of treatment, or nobody can argue that Nepal should be on some sort of preferred list that doesn't get that treatment. It's totally a decision for the local embassy. Okay. Okay. I have a question. On my marriage certificate, my dad's name is misspelled. Also, I added his baptism name, which is not on my birth certificate. The marriage cert has my dad's 3 names. None of that is important. I know what you're asking me that question for. It's on your marriage certificate. You're the selectee, I presume. So your dad's name on that certificate, who gives a damn? Why are you asking me that? Doesn't make sense. Okay, let's just take a couple more. I'm going to have to cut this down, cut this short. Let's see. What if the winner from a red listed country is already in 221G? If the ban is implemented, will they not issue the visa since the country is on the red list? No, again, they will issue the visa, right? If that 221G completes and the outcome is that the visa should be approved, they can issue the visa to a person that's on the red or the orange list. They can issue the visa. The problem is you can't use that visa to enter the USA. That's the problem, right? Okay, let me just scan down here. Let's see. Okay. Can green card holders from red category countries face issues despite following? Where are we? Here. Despite following the 6-month US stay rule. I'm from Iran, currently in US, but need to go on travel, considering unpredictable admin. Look, I posted a video about this just recently. Right now, everybody who's holding a green card should be trying to work within the 6 months, right? Don't have longer absences from the USA longer than 6 months, right? It's just not worth risking. Also, be careful with your social media profiles, right? They've gone after this guy, Khalil, because he was pro-Palestine against Israel. And you know, for whatever reason, our government has decided that that's not okay. It's complete bullshit. We've got the freedom of speech. I can say whatever the fuck I like about any country in the world and about any person in the world. If I want to say, fuck Trump, you moron, or fuck you, Marco Rubio, I'm allowed to say that, right? Now, you know, that's freedom of speech. I can shout from the rooftops that, you know, Trump is a complete moron. There is nothing stopping me doing that. That's freedom of speech, right? Now, you may be offended by my speech, but you're being offended doesn't matter not to me and not to the government. That's the principle of freedom of speech, right? However, the Trump administration have taken it upon themselves to reinterpret that freedom of speech to say that Khalil is going to cause us problems, right? And therefore sort of pointed at the weakness in the green card holder situation, which is this one clause, which is, you know, an obscure part of the INA that gives the Secretary of State this ability to judge more or less by themselves that, you know, they are reasonably I forget the exact wording, but they are reasonably sure that the actions or talk from that person, I'm a bit groggy, are enough to cause us a problem, right? So basically, if we say something that upsets Netanyahu, then that's all of a sudden a problem. That's bullshit. That's wrong. But I bet they're going to win because the wording on it is just horribly loose in the INA. They never expected for a Secretary of State to be Trump's puppy dog, like like this. So you know, it's a problem. So be careful what you do. Going back to your question, be careful what you do. Within the terms of just normal day-to-day life, right? We have freedom of speech. We should be able to say whatever the fuck we want. It's the same as other countries with freedom of speech. It's unbelievable to me that we're having to concern ourselves about this. But anyway, just to avoid the problem, be careful what you say on internet forums and so on. And then with regard to staying outside the USA, make sure you're back within 6 months. Like I said earlier, I think green card holders will be exempted from any sort of red or orange list travel bans. That's my assumption right now, but we don't know for a fact that that's how the travel ban will be released. So we have to wait and see. Okay. This whole thing, I can't believe we're back here. To be honest with you, I mentioned to Jesse Bless this morning, I can't believe that we're back here. Dealing with this crap from this moron president we've got. It's just unbelievable. And what a moron. He's crashed the economy in less than 2 months. He's crashed our economy. This pathetic man. And he's, doing all sorts of things. I mean, he's worse than I expected. Much worse than I expected. Not in a planned way, in a totally unplanned, pathetically badly disorganized way, in an obviously stupid way. The man is such a moron. It's just embarrassing that we've elected this moron as our president, really. But there you go. That's how we are. So let's see. Let's just see if we can get a couple more questions out, then we call this a day. A lot of questions about the ban, but I would recommend that you watch the video I posted this morning. Okay. This one just drives me nuts. If the DS260 for an EU 40K number has been processed stage 2, could that mean that most of the DS260s have already been processed? Look, DS260 was never in numerical order. It's just not the way they work, right? So EU 29K was processed a couple of months ago. And I'm sure there's someone with Africa 75K that has been processed. But yes, at this time of year, by March of each year, we expect most DS260 processing to have been done. So the way we notice that is there'll be someone sitting out there for whatever reason hasn't submitted their DS260 yet, and now they submit it, and it will be turned around in 2 to 3 weeks. It'll be processed 2 to 3 weeks later. And that's how we know that DS260 backlog is gone, basically. So there you go. All right, everybody, I think I'm going to call that a day. I'm going to go and sit on the couch, watch some TV, and get some honey and lemon drink inside me. And that's about all I want to do right now. All right, everybody, please go watch the video on the travel ban, because I really did cover quite a few things there, the questions that you may have. So, please go watch that and you'll get some answers. All right, everybody. Okay, bye-bye now.